What's going on, everyone? It's A-Fizzle here, back with another countdown. This is like the first countdown I've done in almost 2 years when I did my top 10 favorite cereals. And I've been heavily inspired to do more countdowns in the future. And I thought about canning the whole top 20, 25 SEC games, in my opinion, but I may come back to do that later. But this countdown is long awaited. As y'all know, about 5 years ago, back in 2017, I did a countdown of my top 10 worst moments as a Denver Broncos fan. And you can't do a countdown of your worst moments as a fan of your favorite team without doing the best moments as a fan of your favorite team. Because if you're just doing the worst moments, people are going to look at you like, oh, you just look for bad things about your team so you can badmouth the team and whatnot. So, and I already said I was going to do my top. It was going to be top 10, but I decided to change it to top 20 now. So, yeah, so these are my top 20 favorite moments as a Denver Broncos fan. Big ups to Broncos Country here on YouTube. Big ups to Broncos Country on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Anybody rocking the Maha Messiah hardcore, diehard, passionate about the Maha Messiah, about the Denver Broncos. And some stuff maybe a little bit outdated, so because bear in mind, this countdown was supposed to be done back in 2020. So you're not going to really get any moments from 2020 or 2021 on this countdown. But to be fair, there hasn't really been much to be happy about in 2020 or 2021, unless you want to count the win over the Dolphins in 2020, which essentially kept them out of the playoffs with a 10-6 record. And mind y'all, the Broncos are now beating the Dolphins 3 out of the last 4 meetings because the Dolphins have been our Achilles heel for a long time. Or you want to count the Cowboys game from last year, when they were 6-1 riding high, and the Broncos put them mile high stomping on them. Basically blew them out, shut them out 30-0 before they scored 2 garbage touchdowns, wound up losing 30-16. So other than that, or you can count what happened a couple months ago when the Broncos signed Russell Wilson. So that could also be a good moment for Broncos country, but we just have to see how the Russell Wilson era goes once we get into the fall. I know people have been asking me what are my thoughts about it. I think it's a good pickup, but as far as like how I feel like the Broncos are going to do, like I said, I am not going to answer that question. It's not football season yet. I don't want to give away the date I'm doing this, but it's not football season yet, so there's really no point in me giving y'all a prediction of. Okay, I got thrown off for a second. There's no point in me doing a prediction via how I think the Broncos are going to do until I see some gameplay action. And preseason coming up soon, so just know we're in the summertime. And training camp is coming up soon, so it's the preseason. So we're going to get a good taste of how this team is going to react. But enough about that. Let's get into it. The top 20. My top 20 favorite moments as a Denver Broncos fan. And Broncos country, if y'all see this, if y'all want to have your own top 20, top 15, top 10, top 5, top 25, top whatever favorite moments as a Denver Broncos fan, feel free to leave your suggestions down, but not suggestions. Leave your countdown down below. Leave your countdown of your favorite moments as a Broncos fan down below in the comment section, or you can make a response video and do your own video. Make a response video to this one and give us your top moments as a Broncos fan. So, without further ado, let's get into mine. All right, before we get into it, I just want to let y'all know that I'm going to try to keep these segments as brief as possible. I don't want to make this an hour video unnecessarily. I know when I did my worst moments, that was 15 minutes. So if I can keep this within the 30 to 40-minute radius, that'll be great. I know nobody's going to watch an hour video of this, or maybe some will. Who knows? But yeah, the point is, I'm going to try to keep these as brief as possible. Just point out the valid points that need to be pointed out, and then go on to the next one. So number 20, we got to go back to December 10th, 2017. The Denver Broncos hosted the New York Jets. And why is this on the list? Levels to this shit. The Denver Broncos came into this game with a 3-9 record. They was on an 8-game losing streak, with their last win coming on October 1st. You have to go back to October 1st and turn the calendar from September to October when they beat the Oakland Raiders week 4. Yes, it was to the Oakland Raiders at the time. You know, and some of those losses in between, was a loss to a New York Giants team that went going 3-13, a 51-23 jumping over the Philadelphia Eagles, a home loss to the Bengals, which at last occurred in 1975, and a shutout loss to the LA Chargers 21-0. The New York Jets, on the other hand, coming into this game with a 5-7 record, they had just knocked off the Kansas City Chiefs a week prior, 38-31. And I came into this game thinking, well, the Denver Broncos, I think they had packed it in. The Jets had just knocked off the Chiefs. I'm just not 100% certain how the Broncos were going to go into this game and find a way to win. But the Broncos played really decent this day. It was some mistakes here and there, but for the most part, the Broncos did enough to get the win. And not only did they get the win, also the one. Not only did they get the win, they actually shut out the New York Jets 23-0. The Broncos just have a knack for shutting out the Jets. It's like if the Broncos have shut them out 3 times in the last 15 years. So 15, 16, 17 years. So I, the Broncos just been having the Jets number one when it comes to that segment. So, but yeah, it was a really good game. It was like the first shutout for the Broncos since 2005, which was against the New York Jets. And ironically, when the Broncos shot the Jets in 2005, that was also in Denver. So, and also this previous year, the Broncos shot the Jets 26-0. That game was also in Denver. So, Broncos just play really well against the Jets at home. And sometimes they hold the goose eggs. And that's the main reason why it's on the list, because it was a shutout. Broncos needed to win the worst possible way. I needed to win because this was the year that my football teams, my NFL team, my college team, and my high school teams were not really good. Now one of them finished above 500, and a lot of them were going through losing streaks of their own. So I was just really earning for a win. And for this to happen, well, actually, Florida did beat UAB a couple weeks prior to this, but that wasn't enough. This was kind of satisfying to see. I needed this win bad, and I was really excited to get the win. I know some Bronco fans probably wanted the team to just go ahead and finish 3-13, clean house, and just start over. I'm not the one for tanking. I like to win, and that win felt good. Like I said, you haven't had much to be happy about the last 5 years. It's just been frustrating, but a rare moment that something actually went good for the Maha Messiah. So yeah, so number 20, Broncos shut out Jets 23-0. All right, coming in at number 19, you have to go back to 2015. Unlike the last 5 seasons where there hasn't been much to be happy about as a Broncos fan, 2015 was the complete opposite. There were a lot of things to be happy about that season. And one of those moments came in week 8 on November 1st on Sunday Night Football when the Denver Broncos hosted the Green Bay Packers. It was a significant matchup because it was a home game for the Broncos, obviously. Both teams were undefeated that year. The Broncos were 6-0, so were the Packers. They were also 6-0, and the Broncos were honoring some of their players from that Super Bowl 32 team, like Terrell Davis and Shannon Sharp. And this was the only time, maybe I think it was also one more time they did this, but it was only the only time they wore the navy blue uniforms that season. So now you think about the Denver Broncos' first 6 games. Yes, they, like I said, undefeated, defensive slugfests. The offense was slow to get it going. Peyton Manning did not play as good the first 6 games, and as much as people like to say, well, the defense is the reason why they were 6-0. You do have the critics to say, well, the Broncos could have easily been 3-3, 2-4. The Chiefs game, you could have easily lost that one. The Raiders game, you could have easily lost that one. The Ravens game, you could have easily lost. The Browns game, you could have easily lost that one. And be honest, when Peyton Manning threw that interception in Broncos territory against the Browns, that should be the death knell for the Broncos right there. But that defense, man, that saved them, saved their ass. But week 8, the offense busted out in a huge way, man. They like we started to see flashes of 2013 all over again. I think the Broncos nearly matched for 400 yards. The running game was intact. Peyton Manning looked like his MVP form, and the Packers they got sworn, man. Like Aaron Rodgers couldn't really do anything. I remember one play with I think Aaron Rodgers fumbled and the ball got waddled in the end zone. A Bronco player did try to pick it up, but it didn't. The Packers player wound up picking it up and wound up getting called for a safety. Had that been a touchdown, we're talking about 34-10 win. But I would take the 29-10 win. It was a convincing win. The Packers still went on to have a pretty good season. I think they went like 11-5, and I think they captured the NFC North, or maybe the Vikings did. So it wasn't a bad win for the Broncos. It was a good win. Packers were a quality team. The Broncos was just the better team that day. And like I said, when you knock off an undefeated Green Bay Packers team middle of the year, it says a lot for your football team, especially when you have a good team. And like I said, say what you want about the offense that year. The Denver Broncos overall was a good team because the offense, even when they slacked off, they did enough to persevere to win. But this game was dominated from start to finish by the Broncos, so we didn't have to worry about sweating it out or anything. And that's what makes this win a lot sweeter. Like honoring Terrell Davis, Shannon Sharp, the Super Bowl 32 team, and the Broncos playing the way they did. It makes it a good candidate for my list. But there's been more moments for me to be excited about than this one. So therefore, I got this one at number 19. All right, coming in at number 18, winning 19 straight home openers. Look, it doesn't matter which NFL team you are. When you get past 10 in regards to winning consecutive home openers, that's impressive. The Broncos managed to do it for 19 years in a row. It started in 2000. They defeated the Atlanta Falcons 42-14, which was a home opener. And it lasted all the way till 2018, which was the last one. And part of that streak was beating the Raiders, which happens to be week one. They beat Seahawks that year, 27-24. As impressive as that streak was, it wound up coming to an end in 2019 when they lost to the Bears at home. And the thing was that Broncos actually had a chance to beat the Bears, but that BS penalty happened. But like I always say, put the game out of reach early. You don't worry about BS penalties come back and dictating the outcome of the game. So it wasn't for that BS penalty, it would have been 20 years in a row, which would have ended week 1 of the 2020 season against the Titans. And then again, lost on the field goal there. So we could be talking about 22 actually, but it is what it is. Strange things happen, but the fact that the Broncos was able to withstand a winning streak that long, as far as like winning 19 straight home openers, that's impressive. And I wish the Broncos were able to win a couple more Super Bowls, during that stretch, but it just wasn't in the cards for me. But best way, I would take that. I would take the 19 straight home opener winning streak because that looks good for the Broncos in the NFL record books. And I think that may be the record. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe the Cowboys may have something longer than that. I'm going to go by the assumption and say that if it's not the Cowboys, then It's definitely the Broncos with the 19 straight home openers being the record. I'm sure y'all remember when I did my top 10 worst moments as a Denver Broncos fan, that hiring Josh McDaniels was on that list. So it's only right to do due diligence, and I said DODUE, diligence, and put firing him as part of the best moments as a Denver Broncos fan. As y'all know, 2009 got out to a good start. 6-0, defeated the Cowboys and Patriots, two teams that wound up winning their divisions. And then, after that, the team just went downhill from there. The Broncos went out going 2-8 to finish the year. They finished 8-8, missed the playoffs. And what's kind of strange is that 2009, the Broncos started 6-0, and it's by week 7. Three times the Broncos won the Super Bowl. Three times the Broncos won the Super Bowl. It started with a 6-0 start, followed by a week 7 bye. So honestly, the Broncos should have won Super Bowl 44. But you can't win it with Josh Douchebag as your head coach. And then, as for a lot of Bronco fans, when the news broke out about the Spygate thing over there in London when they played the 49ers in 2010, I felt like for a lot of Bronco fans, that was the last straw. They wanted him gone. And then after the Broncos lost 10-6 to the Chiefs, week 13, that was it. He was fired. And one of my earliest videos on YouTube was Josh McDaniels getting fired. I don't think I showed any excitement or any emotion, but best way I was happy about it. And that's why it's at this list. But don't want to give Josh McDaniels too much play, so he's on the bottom half of this list as far as him getting fired being one of my favorite moments as a Denver Broncos fan. Oh yeah, I forgot one thing. Hey, Las Vegas Raiders, have fun with Josh McDaniels this year. And have fun being in the last place in the AFC West because y'all know it's going to happen. All right, number 16. Go back to 2012, October 17th. Monday Night Football, the Denver Broncos travel to San Diego to take on the Chargers. Broncos coming in with a 2-3 record. All three of their losses were caused by them falling down early by 20 plus points, only to rally back late, only to fall short of those comebacks. And then week 6 happened. The Broncos fell down 24-0. You will feel that, well, this was over. The Broncos going to go to 2-4. The Chargers going to be 4-2. Peyton Manning gets picked sixth by the Chargers. I think it was Quentin Jammer who was responsible for that pick six. But the crazy thing is, 2 plays earlier, I think it was Brandon Stokely had a chance to score the touchdown and tripped and fell. And then 2 plays later, that interception happened. But the Broncos didn't give up. For a lot of Bronco fans who probably cut off the TV, probably left on Qualcomm Stadium that night, dejected, feeling like, oh, this was over with. We lost. The Broncos flipped the script. Second half, they got going. Peyton Manning finds Stokely, I think, for that first touchdown. And then, you had a few interceptions here and there, a few fumbles. Chris Harris taking one back. And also, I think he also had a pick six. I think Tony Carter also had no. Tony Carter had the scoop score, I think. Chris Harris had pick six. And, it was just, the second half was just a beautiful thing to see. Broncos just clicking on all cylinders. Boom, boom, boom. Like, you had that Peyton Manning clutch touchdown to Brandon Stokely. The Broncos could do no wrong in the second half. And they wound up scoring, putting up 35 points, leaving the Chargers blanked out throughout the entire second half. Even when the Chargers feel like they had a chance to come back, like I said, Chris Harris put that to bed with his pick six. Broncos came all the way back from down 24 to nothing to win this game, 35-24. And this game is so significant because the Broncos, like I said, they have fell behind 20 plus points in the 3 games that they lost. So I guess it was a way. I don't know. Conspiracy theory that this is a way to, fall down early and see if they can storm back and finally win one. Well, that was a conspiracy theory. It worked, but this was a springboard for the Broncos to really get going after that. Like I said, Both teams were at 3-3 once again once the clock hits double digits zero, triple digits zero. So Broncos are at 3-3. They took first place in the AFC West due to the tiebreaker win over the Chargers thus far. Then they went into their bye. Then the Broncos just wind up going on a 10-game winning streak the rest of the way to finish 13-3, had the number one seed. And I guess it was like a gut check, make for the Broncos. I think this game was needed. I feel like I said, maybe it's a conspiracy theory that they needed to see how it feels to fall behind, and they keep doing it until they finally win a game. Well, it worked. And like I said, I did not cut off my TV. I did not leave Facebook. I was still running my mouth on there. I said, we still got another half to go. Anything can happen. And it was just really sweet to see the Broncos actually, you know, and see the Broncos come back, unfold right in front of my eyes. I just wish I was in San Diego that day, but nope, I was in Georgia, so it would have been nice to see that in person. That's for sure. So I wouldn't have left that game. I would have been like, hey, let's see what happens in the second half, because you never, that's why you play for. And I think I remember making a video. I said you play for 60 minutes, not 30. And I think that's what happened to the Chargers. They played 30 minutes. The Broncos played 60. So number 15, the Tim Tebow comebacks. Love him or hate him, Broncos country, but you have to admit, 2011 was a fun year for the Broncos. Obviously, it did not end with a Super Bowl title, but the fact that the Broncos had started 1-4, the Kyle Orton experience was done. John Fox put in Tebow, almost engineered a comeback against the Chargers, by the way, but just fell short. The heave hole in the end zone did not work. But what makes it so fun is that I just alluded to this with the whole comeback thing. Week 7, Broncos headed down to Miami, play the Dolphins. Honoring the 2008 Florida Gators team, all that. Urban Meyer was there. Maybe some of the 2008 Gators squad was there. The Broncos fell down 15-0 to the Miami Dolphins. It was like 3 minutes away from losing that game and getting shut out. The Broncos stormed back and won that one. Tennessee had that clutch touchdown pass. And then I want to say a fumble happened. I think a fumble happened on, when the Dolphins got the ball back. And then Tim Tebow turns that to another touchdown. Just like that, the Broncos scored 15 unanswered touchdowns. I mean, 15 unanswered points, excuse me, to send the game to overtime. Then, Matt Prater kicked the game-winning field goal to win that one 18-15. So come back from down 15-0 was amazing. And then week 9, also another comeback. I think the Broncos are down 24-14 to the Raiders that game. They wind up winning 38-24. Another comeback against the Chargers, down 13-10. Um, managed to get, another Matt Prater field goal to win that game. I mean, not send it overtime, and the game was nearly tied. They went, both teams went back and forth throughout the overtime period. But eventually, the Broncos got the ball back late in overtime, managed to get in field goal range. Matt Prater kicks the game-winning field goal there, win 16-13, beat the Vikings, and then week 14 against the Bears, which was probably one of my favorite games of all time as a Broncos fan. Down 10-0, about 2 minutes left in the game. Broncos could not do anything. They couldn't get out their own way. And then here comes Tebow Mania, lean the Broncos down the field. You know, punches at me, swoops it in for a touchdown. It was 10-7. And then you had the Marion Barber incident where he goes out of bounds. Chances are if he stays in bounds, the Bears likely win that game. Damn neighbor. But yeah, the Broncos get the ball back after that situation. And then they get down the field. Matt Prater kicks another field goal, ties out at 10-10. And then, as you know, Broncos did everything in overtime, went 13-10. So 6 straight victories, weeks 9 through 14. Broncos started 2-5 and wound up getting to 8-5. And that was needed because that helped the Broncos win the AFC West that year. That and the fact that the Chargers had a 6-game losing streak of their own. But yeah, the Tim Tebow comebacks, like the Dolphin game, like I said, I try to remember I want to say it was a fumble that happened in that game in overtime for the Dolphins that put the Broncos in position to win the game. But I do know for sure the Mary Barber fumble, not the fumble, him going out of bounds helped the Broncos win that game because they gave the Broncos more time. Oh, by the way, speaking of Marion Barber, rest in peace. I did hear that he passed away recently, so rest in peace to Marion Barber, by the way. But thank you, Marion Barber, for going out of bounds because you gave the Broncos more time and you kind of helped the Broncos make the playoffs. So more on the playoff situation momentarily as we get as we get to the later part of the countdown. Coming in at number 14. All wasn't bad in the Josh McDaniels era. As I alluded to this earlier when I talked about firing Josh McDaniels, you know, the Broncos did finish 8-8 in 2009, but they did make 4 of those 8 wins count when they defeated 4 division winners that year. Week 1, they beat the Bengals 12-7. Bengals wound up winning the AFC North. And the interesting thing about the 2009 Bengals is that not only did they win the AFC North that year, they swept all their division rivals. You know, they swept the Steelers, they swept the Ravens, and they swept the Browns. They didn't do anything in the playoffs, though. They wound up losing to the Jets in the wild card round. Week 4, they beat the Cowboys 17-10. Cowboys wound up going 11-5, beating the Eagles the final week of the year and winning the NFC East. Then they came back and beat the Eagles again in the wild card round, only to lose to the Vikings and Brett Favre in the divisional round. Week 5, they defeated the Patriots 20-17, and actually fell down 10-0 in that game. That was a comeback win. Also, that Cowboys game was also a comeback win as well. And Josh McDaniels actually beat Bill Belichick, which makes that even more interesting. Patriots wound up winning the AFC East that year at 10-6, only to fall flat in the wild card round to the Baltimore Ravens 33-14. And then week 6, they beat the Chargers 34-23. That's when A.D. Royal had that kickoff return and a punt return for a touchdown in that game. Chargers, that was the last time they lost the regular season game. They wound up winning 11 straight after that. They finished at 13-3 and winning the AFC West. And just like the Bengals, the Chargers also lose to the Jets in the playoffs. But in the divisional round, though, they also went 1-down. So 3 of those teams, Patriots, Chargers, and Bengals, all go 1-done to playoffs. The Cowboys were the only team only division winner that the Broncos beat that wound up winning a playoff game. Now the Broncos also played the Colts that year, who wound up winning the AFC South, but they lost that one. And the Colts wound up going to the Super Bowl, and Peyton Manning choked against Saints that year. Y'all may hear music in the background, but like I said, I got neighbors who want to crank up their 4th of July festivities, so please bear with me as I go through these treacherous waters of making this video. This is a long-awaited video. All right, number 13. My first year as a Denver Broncos fan. October 25th, week 8 against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Tom Dempsey was the only player up to this point to have nailed the longest field goal in NFL history. I think in 1970, when he was with the Saints, he nailed a 63-yard field goal. However, 28 years later in 1998, Jason Elam also attempts a 63-yard field goal. And guess what? It was good. So he was in the record books along with Tom Dempsey as only players who have kicked the longest field goal in NFL history, only to be joined by Sebastian Janikowski in 2011 when Janikowski kicked a 63-yard field goal of his own, albeit to the despair of the Denver Broncos. But that record has since been broken by Matt Prater in 2013 with the Denver Broncos against the Tennessee Titans when he kicked a 64-yarder. And as recently as this past season when Justin Tucker kicked a 66-yard field goal against the Detroit Lions as a Baltimore Raven. And that was actually a game winner for the Ravens. So Justin Tucker now holds that record for the longest field goal in NFL history with 66. But For that time period, from 1998 until 2013, Bronco fans can feel good for being in record books for something positive. With Jason Young kicking the 63-yard field goal and making it, and that was big ups and big ups to Mike Shanahan for giving him a game ball for that because he was well deserving of a game ball for kicking that long field goal because that's hard to do, regardless of what league you're in. It's really hard to kick 60 plus yard. It's hard to kick 50 plus yard field goals. It's even harder to kick 60 plus yard field goals. Number 12. Y'all go back to the year 2000. The Broncos finished 11-5 that year, second place in the AFC West. They did capture the second wild card spot, but the 2000 season is going to be remembered for one thing mainly, and that was Week 17 against the San Francisco 49ers. It was the final ever game in the historic Mile High Stadium, and the Broncos went out with a bang. They wanted to close Mile High Stadium out the right way, just destroying, mauling, murdering the 49ers 38-9. And that wound up being the last game at Mile High Stadium. The only way that the Broncos would have played any more games at Mile High Stadium after Week 17 is if them and the Indianapolis Colts were to meet in the AFC title game, in which the Broncos had the higher seed than the Colts. The Broncos would have hosted that game. But it didn't matter because the Colts wound up going home in the wild card round against the Dolphins. And then a day later, the Broncos wound up getting shut down by the Baltimore Ravens 21-3 up in Baltimore. So, and the thing was, Broncos had the second best offense in the year 2000. Only the greatest show on turf, St. Louis Rams with Kurt Warner, Marshall Faulk, Isaac Bruce, Torrey Holt, and Roland Williams. I think Roland Williams is on the team, but uh, that St. Louis Rams greatest show on turf was the best offense in the year 2000. Broncos with Brian Greasy, Terrell Davis, Mike Anderson, McCaffrey, Ross Mills and company. They was the second best. And that was the year they lost Shannon Sharp too. Shannon Sharp had went over to the Baltimore Ravens that offseason. He wound up winning the third Super Bowl with winning his third Super Bowl and helping the Ravens capture their first ever title. But that Ravens defense shut down the Broncos in the wild card round. It was just too monstrous that year. Credit what's due. But yeah, number 12, winning the last ever game at Mile High Stadium, 38-9 over the San Francisco 49ers. Oh, side story. That was also Jerry Rice's last game as a 49er, by the way. He wound up going to the Raiders that offseason. They joined them for a couple years. Actually got them to the Super Bowl 2002. And then traded to the Seahawks in middle 2004. And then joined the Broncos, ironically, in 2005. But wanted to return shortly thereafter. I think he came to a few training camps, and then his career was over. He didn't even play a single meaningful down with the Denver Broncos in 2005. I was sad. I was a Jerry Rice fan. I was excited when the Broncos got Jerry Rice, but just didn't happen. So here's what it is. Number 11. We're going to go back to the 2005 season on this one. The Broncos went 13-3, won the AFC West, captured the number 2 seed in the AFC playoffs. But we're going to go to January 14, 2006. Now, I'm going to be honest. I vividly remember the 2004 and the 2005 seasons. During my high school years, I wasn't really watching a lot of sports in 2004 or 2005. I'm just going to admit that right now. So I can say that my knowledge is the most memorable when it comes to the 2005 season. However, I do remember the divisional round against the New England Patriots. And I got to remember, Tom Brady came into the game with a 10-0 playoff record. As you know, won the Super Bowl 2001, 2003, and 2004. Patriots had first round byes each of those years. 2005, on the other hand, they came in as a wild card. Like, they won the AFC East, but they didn't get a first round bye, so they had to play in the wild card round. They defeated the Jaguars 28-3, and then they had to come to Denver and play the Broncos in the division round. I felt that the Broncos won this game when Tom Brady was picked off by Champ Bailey in the end zone, and Champ Bailey nearly taking it all the way back for a touchdown before he was knocked out of bounds by Benjamin Watson. I gotta stop all this bulldog on bulldog crime. All y'all Georgia Bulldogs, y'all just love going after each other, don't y'all? But that's probably the only thing I really remember from that game. That Champ Bailey interception. The Broncos, they managed to do their thing. You know, Mike Anderson scored a touchdown in that game. I think Plummer no, Plummer did not score. He threw a touchdown to what's his name, Rod Smith. The Broncos wound up winning 27-13, and it was Tom Brady's first ever playoff loss in NFL history. And unfortunately, since he unretired, it probably won't be his last either. But yeah, that was probably the best game for the Denver Broncos that 2005 season. That's in that Week 8 game against the Eagles when they blew them out 49-21. Well, it's already going to be an hour video. I'm already looking at the time now. Now we're in the top 10, though. Number 10, 2007, the first 2 weeks of the regular season. Week 1, the Broncos played the Buffalo Bills. The Broncos were down 14-12. Jay Cutler had found Javon Walker for a catch. So, like Mike Shanahan using his genius ways, you know, he rushed the field goal unit out to the field, and they would move so fast, like you feel like it was Sonic the Hedgehog out there in Tasmania Devil. You know, that's how fast they were moving. You know, they was able to quickly set up and get field goal position. Jason Elam kicks the field goal, winning the game 15-14. And then week 2 also had another clutch field goal, you know, against the Oakland Raiders. Jason Elam kicked the game-winning field goal. Yeah, I think he kicked the game-winning field goal overtime. But I think what's funny about the situation is that I want to say Sebastian Janikowski tried to kick the game-winning field goal. He missed it, or I think he made it. Mike Shanahan called the timeout, and then Janikowski had to kick it again. This time he missed it. So it goes to show like Mike Shanahan is a hell of a genius. He knows what the hell he's doing. You know, it's just unfortunate that the last couple of years did not fare well for him. But you always gonna remember this about him in 2007. You know, getting those clutch moments for Jason Elam, and the Broncos start out 2-0 on that note. Thank God for Mike Shanahan, because had it been most other coaches, the Broncos lose those first 2 games to fall to 0-2, and the Broncos would have wound up finishing 5-11 instead of 7-9, which is all bad anyway. But that's probably like the only spark that the Broncos had that entire 2007 season. Yeah, they did beat the Steelers and Titans, 2 teams that wound up going to the playoffs later that season. But other than that, the entire 2007 season, for the most part, has been a hell of a wash. Like, you go back to Week 16, Monday Night Football against the Chargers. Phillip Rivers mocking Jay Cutler on the sideline. You know, that was the antithesis and the microcosm of the 2007 season in a nutshell for the Denver Broncos. But hey, weeks 1 and 2 against the Bills and Raiders, respectively. Jason Elam, we got those to hold on to. Number 9. It's just simple. As a Broncos fan, you thrive off playing the Raiders. You thrive even more off beating the Raiders. Now, Raider fans, they love to hop on the 60s and 70s when they just had the Broncos number. I think the Broncos went nearly 10 years without beating them. I think they tied once in that time span, but they went nearly 10 years without beating them. I think they beat them in 62, did not beat them again until 72. But if you're a Broncos fan, you know, you can hop on 2 things when it comes to the Raiders. Mike Shanahan went 21-7, something like that, against the Raiders, which is, you know, which is great to see. You know, you'd like to see a Broncos coach just have their way with the Raiders. And of course, like I said, this video is made in 2020, so that's why it says 29-15. But Broncos still got a winning record against the Raiders since 1998. Yeah, the Raiders swept the Broncos twice these last 2 seasons, so The Broncos actually are 29-19 against the Raiders since 1998. But at the time, they were 29-15. You know, it was just pure ownage in the late 90s and early double zeros. And also helped that the Raiders was just buku from 2003 to 2009. I think, if I remember correctly, I think the Raiders only beaten the Broncos 3 times in 2000, from 2003 to 2009. I know they beat them once in '07. They beat them once in '07. I know for sure they beat them once in '09 with Jamarcus Russell. How the hell you lose to Jamarcus Russell is beyond me. And I think they beat them once in '04 on Monday Night Football. So that's like 3 times I remember the Raiders beating the Broncos through that stretch. So the Broncos have had their way with the Raiders in the last 14 years. Oh no, 24 years, excuse me, 24 years. The Raiders had the way with the last 2 years, but I'll take the 24 years. That's longevity on they ass. Fuck the Raiders. Number 8. If you know me, I'm a fan of offenses. So I like me a good shootout. I'm not really into this whole defensive slugfest. Oh, he's 10-3 scores. He's 9-6 type scores. That bores me. Like, throw a touchdown, William. And get a 2-point version while you're at it. That's my type of football. I like shootouts. Keep you on your pins and needles. Like, who's going to get the final touchdown? Not these defensive slugfests. Like, be on your pins and needles. Like, who's going to get the final sack to secure the win? Not a lot of y'all like defenses. I like offenses. So obviously, one of my favorite Bronco games happened to come in the year 2013. Week 5, down in Jerry World against the Dallas Cowboys. Cowboys topped out to a 14-0 lead early on, but the Broncos, they got settled in, and they was like scoring like Will, like pew, pew, pew. Next thing you know, the Broncos just go on a rampage. You look at the score again, it's 35-20. And also, the funny thing about it is that Peyton Manning have yet to throw an interception that year. His first interception comes against the Cowboys. And then the Cowboys got a little momentum on their side. They stormed back in it, and they wound up taking the lead. I think it was like 41-38. Broncos out on the field goal. Cowboys score a touchdown. Broncos score a touchdown. So now the Cowboys got a chance to win the game. It's 48-48. And Tony Romo, he misses, I think he misses his running back who was open, which would have kept the drive alive for the Cowboys, which would have gave them a chance to get in field goal range and maybe win the game. But he throws in the wrong direction. He is picked off almost deep in Broncos territory, so the Broncos don't have far to go. So maybe like 2 Peyton Manning passes, they get close to the end zone. John Fox sends Matt Prater out there, kicks the game-winning field goal, and the Broncos win 51-48. Tony Romo actually did not do bad in that game. He had 506 yards and about 4 touchdowns. But that interception is what Cowboy fans get on to him about. Like, yeah, he did good, but the damn interception. So, yeah, what a game. Like that's the Broncos said. What a fucking game. Because it was. I'm going to be honest, that was my favorite game of the 2013 season. And if I were to do like a top 10 favorite Bronco games, which I'm not going to do, or maybe I would do it down the line, but don't hold me to it. We're going to assume I'm not going to do it. That would definitely be my top 10 for sure. Especially since 1998. So. Number 7. Like I told you, 2015 gave you a lot to be happy about as a Broncos fan. So week 12, the Broncos host the New England Patriots. The Broncos were undefeated, 10-0. Haven't really been challenged like that. Maybe except the Giants 2 weeks prior, but the Patriots are having their way with most of their opponents. It wasn't even. It was a laughter. Let's be real. So they come into Denver, and you can feel like this is going to be a Patriots win. Peyton Manning got hurt 2 weeks prior against the Chiefs. He had his worst game as a Bronco against the Chiefs. So, so he had to go up against Brock. So Brady was going up against Brock Osweiler. Brock Osweiler had a clutch win against the Bears. But nobody's really giving the Broncos a chance against the Patriots. It's up Bronco fans. Even some Bronco fans didn't even give the Broncos a chance. Especially when they fell down 21-7. But the Broncos did not give up. They came back. They stormed back in it. They, they started playing Bronco football. The defense really made clutch plays. Then the game went up going overtime, 24-24. But let's be real. The only thing you need, the first and last thing you need to know about this game, besides the Patriots losing, is the way they lost. So hands it off to C.J. Anderson. C.J. Anderson dashes through the snow like for a 47-yard touchdown run and just leaving Patriot defenders in the dust like, yeah, y'all not catching me. Welcome to 10-1. Now get the fuck out of Denver. But yeah, that was a great win. Like I said, Broncos had two great wins at 2015: the Packer win and the Patriot win. And that game was also on Sunday night as well. So and I remember when I was doing my banners on Facebook. I don't do them anymore, but when I was the following week when the Broncos played the Chargers, I made the banner. If you can beat the Packers and Patriots, you can do anything. But yeah, those are like, I would say outside of the Super Bowl, that was probably my second favorite game that year, the Patriots game. And I was at Hooters when I was watching that game too. So I did not have my bad luck charm. Unfortunately, my good luck charm was not working that night. But hey, I was at Hooters, so it was another Hooters win. And the Packers and the win over the Packers was my third favorite. I'll say it's number 4. That's my fourth favorite win of 2000. Fourth favorite game from 15. The Bengals Monday night was my third favorite because the falling down 14-0 and it looked like the Chiefs was about to win the AFC West and Broncos stormed back in the second half. Kicked the field goal in overtime. Then they had that botch snap between AJ McCarron and his center, and the Broncos fall on it to win that game 20-17 and clinch a playoff berth. They stayed on top of the AFC West. So, but yeah, I'm gonna put this number 7 though. Broncos beating the Patriots in overtime, 2015. Number 6. Now, why is this number 6 and not higher? Because I feel like there are 5 Broncos moments since 1998 that I'm more proud of than this one. But I'm very proud of this moment. Back to the 2011 season. So, remember I was talking about Tim Tebow and the comebacks? How about a Tim Tebow game where you don't have to worry about a comeback? Wild card round against the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is one of my favorite games of all time for various reasons. One, I'm going to say the obvious. It was my birthday weekend. Second of all, the critics. This is why I get so happy when critics don't even give my team a chance. I'll be like, keep going. I want all y'all to say the Broncos are going to lose. I want all y'all to say they have no chance. Steelers had the number 1 defense that year. They went 12-4. They did not win the AFC North. They lost the tiebreaker to the Ravens because they got swept by them. But man, this was a delightful game. And the Broncos have finished 8-8. By the way, they won the AFC West. They beat out the Chargers and Raiders for the top spots due to tiebreakers. And the main tiebreaker was the Dolphin game. Broncos beat the Dolphins, Raiders lost to them, and that basically gave the Broncos AFC West. I don't know what factors in the Broncos being out the Chargers in the tiebreaker, but I'll take it. So Broncos hopped out to a 20-6 lead, and then the Steelers started to battle back, and it was just kind of like a back and forth affair throughout the entire game. But let's get to the real reason. 23-23 in overtime. Tim Tebow finds Demaryius Thomas. May you also rest in peace, Demaryius Thomas. Demaryius Thomas makes a cut. He shakes off Ike Taylor, giving him a stiff arm. Next thing you know, Demaryius Thomas is on the way to the touchdown. And as the announcer said, the Broncos are on their way to New England or Foxborough, whatever they said. But it was on the lines of get ready to play the Patriots in the next round. This was one of my favorite birthday presents of all time. My all-time favorite birthday present is watching Alabama losing the national title game against Clemson, 44-16. Thank you, Dabo. Thank you, Trevor Lawrence. Thank you, Clemson. That was my favorite birthday present of all time because that game was actually on my birthday. Anytime Bama loses is delightful to see. But not only did they lose, they got burnt. This was actually the day after, but the fact of the matter is it was my birthday weekend, and I was just out, and I was really excited. I I wanted this win. I wanted this win really bad because it was my birthday weekend, and the Broncos was able to get through. Get through for me and get it done. And Tim Tebow had his best game in the NFL that day. Threw for 316 yards. I don't think he threw for any interceptions either. Now I think he ran for a touchdown. Now I may be wrong. It was just a good game to watch, man. Like if you're a Steelers fan, you're sick to your stomach. I can't blame you for that. But if you're a Broncos fan, you enjoyed it. It was like the height of Tebow mania. It was a peak of Tebow mania as well because like Tebow didn't do anything else after this game. But man, what a game! I would relish that game forever, man. With it being on my birthday weekend, man. Number five. Yes, we're officially in the top five now. 2010, the draft. The Broncos select Tim Tebow with the 25th pick. Now, 3 picks prior, the Broncos had that pick, and they picked the Bears Thomas. Why is this significant? I'm a Florida fan. I wanted Tebow with the Broncos. And the fact that Tim Tebow was able to fall to the Broncos, I jumped up and down like a little kid at Six Flags. It's like I was just excited because I knew what Tebow did in college, and I was looking forward to him tearing it up with the Broncos. Obviously, he did not have the best career with the Broncos. He's a serviceable quarterback. Let's be real. But without my number five favorite moment, you don't have my number six favorite moment or the Tim Tebow comebacks. So who knows where the Broncos franchise would have been in the early 2000 teams. Think about it, people. Even though if you can't stand Tebow, you think he's not a good quarterback, you think he can't throw. He did give us some good moments 2010 and 11. So plus it was a springboard to get for Peyton Manning to come. Once we found out about that next situation that caused the Colts to drop him. So drafted Tebow worked out for the best because it was just, like I said, springboard to what the Broncos would become the next. Not 2010, that was a lost year, 4-12. But it would have happened the 5 years after that. Just starting off with 2011, winning the division, and then 2012, 13, 14, 15, just being one of the top teams, not only in the AFC West, or obviously they were the top team in the AFC West, but not only one of the top teams in the AFC, but one of the top teams in the NFL. More on that later. Before I got into the number five moment, I should have said this. Numbers 5, 4, 3, and 2 are all going to tie into one. I already talked about Tim Tebow signing, which was the beginning of what we will see the next 5 out of 6 seasons. 2014 off season comes in at number 4. Why is this significant? 2013, as I talked about the Broncos Cowboys game being my favorite Broncos game of 2013. The worst game of 2013 to me was the Super Bowl. This is the last time I mentioned this Super Bowl ever. Super Bowl 48. Seahawks slammed the Broncos 43-8. They had that hungry, grimy defense of Richard Sherman, Cam Chancellor, Earl Thomas at Legion of Boom. It was just too fast. It was ahead of its time. It was like the modern day 85 Bears in a way, modern day 2000 Ravens. It was just that they were just that phenomenal. It woke up John Elway. John Elway realized, okay, I got to beef up my defense to compete with the Seahawks. Because he already had the offense, so we was good there. We just need to beef up the defense. And when I got T.J. Ward from the Browns, they wound up getting the Keith Lee, who I was not fond of early on. Keith Lee played with the Buccaneers from 2008 to 2012. Then spent the year with the Patriots before coming to the Broncos. But Keith Lee wound up being a jewel with that secondary because he was just that damn good. He was like the catalyst of that secondary. He was, when it was all said and done, I was happy that he was on our team. And then my favorite signing came right after that. Getting DeMarcus Ware. Y'all know 2013 was a lost year for Von Miller. He had gotten hurt and suspended, and he was just trying to get back in form. And that was going to be that 1-2 punch for DeMarcus Ware and Von Miller. That set the cornerstone for what we expect the following 3 seasons. It was the awakening. It was the beasting that was coming out of that Broncos defense, it was the birth of the no-fly zone. It started there. So, getting those key components for our defense and drafting Bradley Roby, it was really helpful for the Denver Broncos. And also, the Broncos did add another piece on offense, getting Emmanuel Sanders, luring him over from the Pittsburgh Steelers. So, like I said, you didn't have to touch the offense. The offense was good to go. But it was all about getting the defense straight. And next 2 seasons, all that hard work paid off. So yeah, definitely my number 4 favorite moment as a Denver Broncos fan, that 2014 offseason. Without that offseason, without the moves happening that happened, who knows what the Broncos would have done in 2014 and 15. Number 3. And number 5 and number 3 tie in the most between these two because 2010 and 2011, I said 2010 was a wash year. Kyle Orton played most of that year. Tim Tebow played the final 3 games against the Raiders, Texans, and Chargers. But 2011 is where everything really got started. You really start seeing the Broncos for where they at. The comebacks and all that. Now, unfortunately, Tim Tebow did not stick around with the Broncos. He got shipped out to the Jets in 2012. Reason being, because 2 days prior to him getting shipped out to the Jets, the Broncos lured Peyton Manning. Broncos wanted him, 49ers, Cardinals, Titans. I think Texas may have wanted Peyton Manning. It was an all-out war for Peyton Manning that offseason. Who was he going to land with? Who's going to benefit the most with getting Peyton Manning? And March 19 changed everything. It was the Denver Broncos. He picked the Broncos. And I think the reason why he picked the Broncos, he already said his reason. This is my reason why I think he picked the Broncos. He saw potential in that Denver Broncos squad. Like, I can do something with this. And that 8-8 season in T-Row Mania, it set the foundation. If you do not have that T-Row Mania in 2011, if you don't have that 6-game winning streak, I highly doubt the Broncos. He picks the Broncos. Therefore, Peyton Manning doesn't come to the Broncos. Who knows what the next 4 seasons would have followed, 12, 13, 14, and 15. Who knows where the Broncos would have been those following 4 seasons if John Elway doesn't go out of his way to get Peyton Manning. So, like I said, for those who can't stand Tim Tebow, who thinks that he can't throw, you got to thank him for that 2011 season because he made the Broncos a formidable enough team to where Peyton Manning was even for Peyton Manning to even consider Denver as a choice. How can I work? You got to thank Tim Tebow for that 2011 season. All those comebacks you had, and then that Steeler game, because that set the foundation right there. Like, it made the Broncos a formidable team for Peyton Manning to even consider wanting to come here. If you don't have that, he's not here. So, yeah, Peyton Manning coming to the Broncos in 2012, number 3 on this list. And this is why 5 through 2 correlate with each other. The Tim Tebow drafted in 2010, Tim Tebow's comebacks in 2011 opened the door for Peyton Manning wanting to come here. Beefing up that defense after losing that Super Bowl to the Seahawks. It all accumulated to this. Beating the Packers and Patriots earlier that year. The Broncos, they wound up going 12-4 that season, winning the AFC West for the 5th straight year. And like I say, even though they beat the Packers and Patriots, they did have a little stumping with losing to the Raiders and Steelers after that. And then needing to beat the Bengals to even have a chance to make the playoffs. Wound up getting that done. Wound up beating the Chargers week 17 after Brock Osweiler threw a shit ton of interceptions. And not John Fox. I'm drawing a blank here. Gary Kubiak. He puts Peyton Manning in the game. Peyton Manning makes his entry back onto the football field for the first time since week 10. Lure to come back against the Chargers. It all comes down to this: Super Bowl 50. Obviously, they beat the Steelers in the division round, getting revenge on them, and holding off the Patriots once and for all in the AFC title game. And what makes this game significant is a Super Bowl win, obviously, but more, but more importantly, the disrespect that the Broncos were getting those 2 weeks leading up to that Super Bowl. No way the Broncos are going to beat the Panthers. Cam Newton's going to have his way with the no-fly zone. You see what he did with the Cardinals in the NFC title game, how he just ran all over them? Well, just notice, the Cardinals offense did not go up against Cam Newton. So, of course, he was going to have his way with the Cardinals defense. But we believe, Broncos country believe. It's like, okay, nobody, we like this. You see, I like that. I want y'all to never give the Broncos a chance again. Never. Because I believe, Broncos country believe, that's all that really matters. As long as we believe in our team, that's the only thing that should matter. And we went out, the Broncos went out there, and that defense just unleashed on Cam Newton, slowed him down. And Cam Newton won MVP that year, by the way. Slowed him down. It's like he was having that Auburn year in 2010. But Cam, this isn't Auburn. This is Broncos country. You know, obviously you had that fumble, Von Miller forcing that fumble on Cam Newton and near the end zone, put the Broncos up 10-0. And then it was like later on in the game, I think it was like 16-10. Broncos had the lead. Cam Newton fumbles the ball yet again, and he fails to jump on it. I'm not saying he jumped on it, the Panthers would have won, but he probably gave him a chance. But he didn't. But he didn't jump on that ball, and the Broncos did. Once he stepped back from that ball, and the Broncos pounced on it, I knew the game was over. I knew the Broncos had this in the bag. Broncos wound up getting the C.J. Anderson touchdown, and then wound up getting a 2-point version, pretty much decisive game. Broncos won 24-10. And you know, ironic thing was during Super Bowl 48, I was chilling with my dad and his friends, and while the Broncos got smacked around by the Seahawks. So 2 years later, I'm chilling with my mama this time, and her former friend, and and her peoples. I was during Super Bowl 50 between the Broncos and Panthers, and the Broncos wound up winning. So it goes to show that they say Mama knows best. I guess Mama was a good luck charm that time around. So I love my mama, by the way. But yeah, I was just it was just a really great Super Bowl, man. Like I was just so happy. I was so elated because all that hard work that the Broncos have done, offense and defense, front office, everything that started in 2011, it led up to what accumulated at the end of 2015. 124-10. Unfortunately, the Broncos were not able to duplicate that down the line. Wind up losing their mojo. Peyton Manning retires a month later after that Super Bowl, so that's another thing as well. So it goes to show, like, the fact that the Broncos have had 5 straight losing seasons and missed the playoffs the last 6 years. You got to appreciate 2015 for as much as you can, because man, it's like that was a hell of a year. That was a hell of a journey to go through everything the Broncos went through 2015 and still managed to get the win. My God, I'm just. But yeah, Super Bowl 50, number 2 on my list as my second favorite moment as a Denver Broncos fan. And obviously, I've been a Broncos fan since 1998. So I'm sure for a lot of y'all, and also, this countdown only consists of moments from 1998 until 2019. Because 98, like I said, is when I became a Broncos fan. And 2020, I was working on this list. So there are no moments from 2020 or 2021, as I said earlier. So, but I'm sure you already know what my number one favorite moment as a Denver Broncos fan is. I allude to this all the time when it comes to the Broncos, and for good reason too. So I'm not gonna talk here. Let's get into number one. Number one, you knew it. You knew it was coming. You're just waiting on like, when's he gonna talk about it? Because you know he's gonna talk about it. That's right. And before I even get to the Super Bowl, let me go ahead and give credit to Super Bowl 32 as well. Like I said, I my introduction to the Broncos was in 1997. I really started watching NFL in 1998, so I kind of had an idea who the Broncos were when the time I started watching. But yeah, that was a great Super Bowl in itself. Super Bowl 32 against the Packers, 31-24. This one's for John. And Terrell Davis with that migraine that day, so it was a memorable Super Bowl. But for me, Super Bowl 33 is it's the it. It's the it factor. January 31st, 1999, Miami, Florida, going up against the Atlanta Falcons, and there's a lot of like just like it's a lot of ties. There's a lot of ties. Let's be real. Let's be real. Dan Reeves, John Elway, Mike Shanahan triangle, and then also a tie-in with myself being a Broncos fan in Georgia, and the closest team to me was the Atlanta Falcons. So all that ties. There's a lot of ties with the situation. At this time, I can't say I was a Falcon hater. I think about it, but I was starting to get annoyed with the Falcons. Hey, I was saluting them. I was giving props on their success. They went 14-2. They had number two seed. They knocked out the Vikings in the NFC title game. But by this time, I was just trying to get annoyed with the Falcons. I wasn't hating them yet, but it was gearing up. So it was boiling inside me. Like I'm about tired of the Falcons. I'm about tired of hearing about their success story. So I was like, I wanted the Broncos to just embarrass them, and I wanted to just beat them down to submission, and they did just that. And it's unfortunate that Shannon Sharp got hurt early in the game, but it's all good because he had the pieces. It was John Elway's final game as an NFL quarterback. My favorite play, obviously, is when John Elway finds Rod Smith and he burns Eugene Robinson for an easy touchdown. The defense got a couple of interceptions. Darius Johnson got an interception. Darian Gordon got an interception. I'm sure there's another interception down the line. Chris Chandler got murdered by Bill Romanowski. It was submission. Broncos were up 31-6 by the third quarter. It was already lights out. Broncos went to win this game 34-19. Tim Dwight did had a kick return for a touchdown. It was the only thing Falcons fans can be happy about in that Super Bowl. But yeah, Broncos won, like I said, won 34-19. It was a second ever Super Bowl title. It was back to back. John Elway went out on top, just like Peyton Manning did after Super Bowl 50. And just like Super Bowl 50, where the Broncos kind of fell apart, same thing happened after Super Bowl 33. Broncos fell completely apart. They went 6-10, but they did kind of rebound a little bit. Went 11-5 in 2000 before losing to the Ravens in the wild card. So yeah, my all-time favorite NFL game, my all-time favorite Denver Broncos game, my all-time favorite Denver Broncos moment, beating the Falcons in Super Bowl 33, 34-19. Now, I did enjoy watching the thumping in 2000 and beating the Falcons in 2008, giving Matt Ryan his first ever home loss as a Falcon. And those are respectful games in their own way, but nothing tops Super Bowl 33 for me. All right, and that's going to do it. Like I said, I do apologize for the noise in the background. My neighbor's getting it turned up for the 4th of July already. I'm about to get ready to jump in the shower myself and get ready to turn up for the 4th of July, but I just want to go ahead and get this list out the way because it's been long awaited. I've been talking about it for 2 years. I need to go ahead and do it. So there you have it. My top 20 favorite best moments, whatever you want to say, my top 20 best moments as a Denver Broncos fan. Hopefully, there'll be a lot more great moments coming in 2022 and beyond. But I know I need to do this video because I've done one in relation to my worst moments, and I can't just continue to have my worst moments out there and not respond with a best moments video. So there you have it. So I'm going to get up out of here now. So until next time, A-Fizzle signing out. Go Broncos, DB4L. I'm looking forward to what's going to transpire this season. I'm sure it can only get better from here. Russell Wilson's season is underway. Nathaniel Hackett's season also underway. Randy Gregory's season underway. Nick Bonato, Nick Bonato, the linebacker for Oklahoma. Nick Bonato's season underway. Let's do this, Denver Broncos. And fuck the Raiders, Chargers, and Chiefs, by the way. And fuck the Atlanta Falcons, too. As far as the other teams, I don't care for y'all. Holla at y'all later.